Areas POV. $10,000,000. Going once. Going twice. The Queen's necklace sold to Alpha King Lucian himself. Congratulations. When they announced that, everyone's disbelieving and shocked gazes turned toward me. His neglected Luna. My heart started to race. In reality, I couldn't believe it more than anyone else. Could it be that he remembers today is our anniversary? Lucian, my husband and the greatest Alpha King of Pack Nightfall, stood up from his chair at the front of the auditorium and walked to the stage. He has short, curly black hair and a handsome face. Even with his always cold expression, he remains the most popular man in the entire pack. I softly placed my hand on my chest. I used to think he didn't remember how important that necklace was to me. Because I'm his neglected housewife Luna. I'm Lucian's second chance mate, his Luna, a Luna with an orphan's past. Look at what she's wearing tonight. She actually doesn't deserve that necklace. I know Lucian's first mate Sheila is here today too. Maybe the necklace is for her. But Sheila is just an ex-mate, isn't Lucian's wife. It's named the Queen's necklace. I heard someone mutter quietly. Everyone looked down on our marriage, and that was obvious. Who would believe that an orphan like me deserved to be with the Alpha King? Over the years, I've heard countless insults like this. But my gaze remained fixed, staring directly at Lucian, the man I loved. I could endure it. My relationship with Lucian had been strained for some time. For my love of him, I gave up everything that I had, and that I was, to become his stay-at-home spouse, as was tradition for the wife of the Alpha King. Yet it seemed the harder I tried to please him, the more he distanced himself from me. First mate, also named fated mate. The mate bond of second chance is not as profound as that of fated mate. I've always known this. But love gave me the courage to endure and overcome it all. And now it seemed like hope had finally arrived. My heart raced, accelerating with every beat. On the stage, there, the event master handed over the prize he had won. A darling pearl necklace that I'd had my eye on since the start of this charity auction. It's very similar to the one my mother longed for while she was alive. The necklace had carried a hefty starting bid that rose to impossible limits during the auction itself. For the Alpha King, no cost was too high, and as it was our wedding anniversary, maybe this year, he'd finally want to celebrate it. Necklace in hand, he turned toward the rest of the room, his cool blue gaze drifting over the audience. He's walking toward me. I stood up at once, eager and waiting, my heart leaping into my throat with anticipation. Lucian began walking up the aisle. For row after row, my heart pounded so fiercely, I could barely hear myself think. When he approached the row where I was standing, I totally froze. I didn't even breathe. He moved into the row, coming closer, his eyes slightly beyond me. Then he was at my side. Lucian, I whispered. But he walks past me, as if he hasn't seen me at all. He walked towards another. Not me. His ex-mate Sheila stood 2 seats down from me. Turn around, Lucian told her. When she did, he lifted the necklace and carefully placed it around her neck, clasping it in the back. Lucian kept his hands on her shoulders as he told her. Congratulations on your new beginning. Sheila laughed lightly, spinning toward him. She said, I didn't expect you to read through the gossip rags. Her smile, as elegant as her black dress. She was born of noble, popular, dignified. She's a perfect noble lady. And the most importantly, she was his ex-fated mate. Even though they didn't get married, they had a love affair. The necklace is not for me, it's for her. Were they wrong? Lucian asked. No, she replied. I officially announced my divorce this morning. The nearby noble werewolves, recognizing this moment as one that should be celebrated, began politely clapping. Then the applause grows louder, and some even began to cheer. Nearby, reporters and photographers hurried closer, the bulbs of their cameras flashing and popping like firecrackers, straight in my eyes. I stumbled backwards, moving out of my row into the aisle. Lucian didn't notice, his hand now resting comfortably on Sheila's lower back. Grinning, she leaned closer to him. The cameras caught it all. So did I. Embarrassment flashed through me, bringing heat up in my cheeks. Turning, I continued down the row until it finally blessedly met the wall where I could hide. I didn't stay hidden for long. Sheila, eyes like a beacon, saw my every move. The moment the attention moved back onto the auction, she walked away from Lucian and approached me where I leaned against the wall. Her smile was bright. Arya, why are you hiding here in the corner? She didn't wait for me to answer before pressing on. You look sad. Did you want the necklace? Here. It should be yours anyway. Reaching up, Sheila unclasped the necklace from behind her neck, then started to hold it out for me. As she often stole the spotlight from me, I naturally disliked her. For her to make this gesture toward me, I could see now that I had been unkind in judging her. Maybe she really was kind. Yet, just as I reached out to take the necklace, Sheila cried, and she threw herself backwards like I had pushed her. Arya! She purposely screamed. Her heels twisted beneath her, and she fell to the ground. The necklace fell out of her hand. The string caught on something, snapping it, and the pearls spilled out across the auditorium floor. The entire room immediately silenced, everyone watching us. Arya, how could you? Sheila said loudly from the ground. I knew you were jealous of me, but to act like this here in front of everyone. I didn't, I started to say. The eyes of the mob darkened with anger, already against me. Why would you push me? The kindness was an act. I had been right initially when I had doubted her. Now I was paying the price for letting down my guard. The reporters and photographers rushed close once more. This time, I was included in their flashes and pops. This incident would likely be all over the gossip magazines the following day. In full and vibrant color, no doubt. And here I was, with no way of proving my innocence. Any attempt to do so would pit my word against Sheila's. And I'd already lost the battle of public opinion. Lucian pushed through the gathering crowd, coming closer to us. For a moment, I held his gaze, my hope rising. Our marriage hadn't been perfect, but I was still his wife. Surely of the two of us he would side with me, not Sheila. Please believe me. I wordlessly begged with my eyes and my heart. Please, I'm your wife. This is our wedding anniversary. Please. Lucian's face remained emotionless as ever, his eyes as cold as they ever were. Yet I still hoped. I still believed in the power of this marriage. I continued to believe right up to the moment Lucian stopped, kneeled at Sheila's side, and helped her back up to her feet. With his arm around her, she pressed both hands to his chest. She leaned her face toward his shoulder, hiding her wide smile from the entire room. No one could see it, except me. Arya, Lucian snapped. Yes, husband. I doubled my efforts to act as his devoted, submissive wife, hoping with my last hope that it might be enough to sway him to my side. Please, Lucian, please. Apologize to Sheila, Arya. That rising hope that had lifted up inside of my chest crashed straight back down to the pit of my stomach, where it shriveled up once more, returning to despair. But, Lucian, I apologize. I knew that hard tone. You wouldn't ask again. Now, Lucian said coldly to me. While I hesitated to apologize, Sheila curled herself more firmly against Lucian's chest and whimpered. I have no idea why she would hate me so much. Is it because I'm your ex-fated mate, Lucian? Doesn't she understand that I'm now just a pitiful, lonely woman after the divorce? Lucian rubbed his hand up and down Sheila's back in a soothing motion, though his ice-cold eyes stayed fixed on me. I wanted to deny that I hated her, but I couldn't lie. With her behavior tonight, my dislike of her had pushed into full hatred, and it was only getting worse. Sheila turned to look at me. With a glimmer of vengeance flashing through her gaze, she said, Arya wanted the necklace, Lucian. The moment she saw me with it, she lunged at me. That's not true, I said at once, shocked by the ease Sheila delivered her deceptions. You tripped yourself just now and… That's enough, Lucian said firmly, cutting me off. Emotion crept into his eyes at last, but it was nothing that offered comfort to me. No love, no understanding, no kindness at all. Only disappointment. Do not attempt to lie to me, Arya. Oh, Lucian. It was terrible. Sheila buried her face against Lucian's shoulder. As he pressed his arms more fully around her, embracing her, she tilted her head to cast a sly, taunting smirk at me. My stomach flipped so hard I thought I might be sick. That was my husband she was embracing and treating as her own. Everyone in this room knows why you are acting this way, Lucian told me. Jealousy. You are my second mate, Arya. I expect you to act with dignity, not like a petty child. He scolded me. even as the cameras flashed and the reporters scribbled down in their notepads, trying to transcribe him word for word. One captured his voice with a tape recorder. The growing distrust in Lucian's eyes made my heart shatter into 1,000 tiny pieces, too many and too small to rebuild. Sheila winced then, drawing Lucian's full attention. "My ankle," Sheila said, feigning pain. "I think it twisted when I fell." "Careful. You shouldn't walk on that." Without further warning, Lucian bent, scooped Sheila into his arms, and held her in a bridal carry against his chest. "My hero," Sheila said, smiling now. Lucian turned and, holding Sheila, began to carry her away from the crowd. And away from me. "Lucian, wait, He was already gone, beyond the barricade of seats and people. Reporters filled the space he had been. Between the shouted questions and the flashing lights, I started to feel overwhelmed. Everything was getting blurry around the edges. Then suddenly, a sharp pain tore through my stomach so strongly that I doubled over. I wrapped my arms around my waist, but the pain only amplified. "Lucian!" I called out in hurt and in fear. Then I collapsed. For a time, I felt as if I was floating in darkness. I couldn't see or feel anything, but I knew I wasn't dead. Instead, I was caught somewhere between unconscious and awake, unable to drift fully into one or the other. Around me, I heard voices. "Lucian, you know how I feel. I've never stopped loving you." That was Sheila's voice, but it was broken and watery, like she was sobbing. "But with you, everything changed for me. If we had never made it, I wouldn't be suffering like this. You can't possibly know how devastating it is to be a barren she-wolf." Silence was her only reply for a long moment. Then, soft as a whisper and filled with guilt, Lucian replied, "I'll make it up to you, Sheila. Somehow we will find a way to cure you. The pack healers are useless." Sheila snapped, her voice suddenly much stronger than before. "If you really want to make it up to me, if you mean it about finding me a cure, then I need Dr. A. That legendary genius healer. No one knows how to find Dr. A. They disappeared a few years ago and—" "You promised," Sheila said, her voice wobbly again. "Unless you didn't mean it." "I don't say things I don't mean," Lucian replied. "If Dr. A is the only one who can cure you, then I will track them down. There's the man I love. You know, maybe when I can have children again, I could finally give you a child of our own." Lucian said something. I was sure he did, but the words were lost in the haze of my mind as I fell into unconsciousness once more. When I finally blinked my eyes open, I was in my bedroom, in my bed. Confused, I pushed myself up to my elbows. Hadn't I fainted at the charity event? A maid tidied around the room, dusting here and there without any real purpose. What she was doing seemed like busy work, as if her real job was to keep an eye on me. But that couldn't be. There was no way Lucian would ask her to do such a thing, after how coldly he acted at the gala. When she spotted me, awake and upright, she immediately abandoned her dust rag and walked to my side. "Oh, Arya, how are you feeling? King Lucian will want to know you are awake." "I highly doubted that. How did I get here?" "King Lucian brought you back," the maid said. "Sheila came with him. Are they still here?" "No. They left again about an hour ago." The maid glanced toward the door. "I should call him at once. He will want to know you are awake." She rushed out of the room, before I could tell her not to bother. Lucian wouldn't care. At least, I didn't think he would. Beside me, a chair had been pulled up beside the bed. It was empty now, but I wondered, more I hoped, that Lucian might have sat there earlier. Perhaps that conversation I had heard hadn't been the ramblings of my imagination. Could it have been real? Could it have happened right beside me as I slept? If it was real, it might explain why Lucian had always been so cold toward me and distant in our marriage. How long had he been in love with Sheila? And their talk of having a child. I always wanted children, which was why I'd been so heartbroken that after 3 years of marriage, I still hadn't conceived. Although I remembered now, right before I fainted, I had a sharp pain in my stomach. Could it be? It would explain why an otherwise healthy individual, such as myself, would suddenly faint. "You need to test it," whispered my wolf Luna from inside of my mind. She's right. After a moment's consideration, I decided that I would rather know now. Throwing back my covers, I stepped out from the bed and crossed the room to my chest of drawers. In the bottom drawer, Buried in the far back corner was my old medical kit. Grabbing it, I hauled it into my private bathroom. During the testing process, I was really nervous. I'd wanted to be a mother so badly, but at the same time, I was sad and afraid. My husband loved someone else, and might not even want this baby with me. He'd promised Sheila that he would bring back the long-lost Dr. A to cure Sheila's infidelity. Then they would have their own child together. My baby and I would be cast aside. That will not happen, whispered my wolf Luna from inside of my mind. A child this important would not be abandoned by our Alpha. You've seen the way he's been treating me, I replied in my thoughts. You can't say for certain what he would do. 15 minutes later, after a quick diagnosis of myself, the truth slapped me in the face. I was pregnant. A mix of conflicted emotions surged through me, pulling me from soaring heights to plunging lows. I held my breath. I'm pregnant with a child that my husband may not have been expecting. He only wants Sheila to have a child for him. They are finding Dr. A to heal her issue. At that moment, Luna went quiet too. Overwhelmed, I traced my hand over the cool leather of my medical kit. Many years ago, when I had been a practicing healer, I had been given this doctor's bag as a gift. My grateful patron had even embossed my old insignia into the side. What should I do? The leather had worn slightly with age, making the embossing less distinct than before, but it was still there. Looking closely, I could see it. It's the initials of my name, Arya. A single letter. A. A few days later. Arya pushing Sheila, experts agree. Not proper decorum for a Luna. The ironic headline stung my eyes. Tossing the newspaper aside, I left the living room and walked into the kitchen to make myself more coffee. It was definitely a 2-cup kind of day. All of the newspapers were abuzz with news of Lucan's search for the mysterious Dr. A. Lucian, supposedly in his efforts to find the doctor, announced his intent to the public. And under the headline regarding Lucian's search were a few smaller articles pertaining to me and the embarrassing incident at the charity event. The article under the headline mostly recounted all of that events from the evening with the supposed experts' unwelcomed comments thrown in. She's always been a disappointment as a Luna, the article read. Now that Sheila is divorced once more, the choice for Lucian is clear. Leave Arya and reconnect with Sheila. Just as I was pouring, the phone on the wall started to ring. Setting down the coffee pot, I walked across the kitchen to lift the phone off its cradle and bring it to my ear. The long winding cord circled down between the handset and the phone base. Hello? I asked. Arya? You sound so down. Are you looking at those damn newspapers again? The voice on the other end of the phone belonged to my best friend Kathy. A true friend, she had known me since before my wedding to the Pax Alpha King. She'd been encouraging my divorce since the second week. Remind me again why you aren't divorcing Lucian? Kathy angrily said. You gave up everything to be the Alpha King's homemaker, and look how he's disrespecting you. Defending Sheila over you. Even trying to track down Dr. A for her. Meanwhile, your good name is being dragged through the mud in the press, and he's not saying one word in your defense. Lucian doesn't like to talk to the press, I said weakly, already knowing it was a shoddy defense at best. Especially since he'd gone to the press already in his search for Dr. A. He could have easily mentioned something nice about me while he was speaking with them, but he didn't. I don't care what he doesn't like. Who I care about is you, Arya. And ever since you came into this marriage, you've changed. You've totally lost the person you used to be. I couldn't deny that. I'd given up my career and most of my sense of self. Being the perfect submissive wife was a difficult act to put on, when the real me was much more bold. I love him, Kathy. I can't just turn those feelings off. You know he saved me. Kathy sighed, long-suffering. Well. Think about it. Arya, the hospital will always welcome your return. After hanging up with Kathy, I resolved to talk to Lucian once more. We had much to discuss about our marriage, about Sheila, about the baby growing inside of me. Luna especially encouraged a discussion. He will listen. He is your mate. I wasn't so sure. Our marriage had never really been perfect, and it was in the worst shape now that it had ever been in. But it still deserved a fighting chance. Checking the calendar hanging beside the phone, I realized today was Thursday. Lucian only worked the mornings on Thursday, usually arriving home just after lunch. I shouldn't have to wait long to talk to him. At least that was what I thought. But Lucian didn't unlock the front door and walk through it until 9 o'clock at night. It's evening now. And he wasn't alone. Sheila clung to him. Her arm was around Lucian's shoulder and his around her waist, his hand firmly placed on her hip. Sheila stumbled as if she couldn't walk. When she saw me standing in the foyer, she pressed even closer to Lucian. Lucian's attention seemed entirely fixed on Sheila, as if he didn't notice me at all. Most of the bedrooms are upstairs, he said gently. Do you think you will be able to manage? Only if you help me, she replied in a weak voice. Lucian, I asked, making my presence known. This wasn't the first time Lucian had brought Sheila home with him into our house. She knew very well where the bedrooms were and how to find them on her own. She shouldn't need his assistance with that. He should have a minute to talk to me about our marriage and our future. Gathering my courage, I pressed forward, determined to save my marriage. I want to talk to you. Don't just stand there, Arya, Lucian said, glancing at me. Arrange a room for Sheila. She'll need toiletries and a set of towels. Her things should be arriving shortly. Her things? Yes, Lucian said. Starting today, Sheila will live in our house. I'm so sorry, Arya, Sheila said, turning her face into Lucian as if she were trying to hide her embarrassment. I'm always disturbing you and Lucian. But I swear, there's really nothing happening between us. Our relationship is innocent and pure. I frowned at that wording and at the obvious fakeness of the apology. Lucian seemed to fall for it, however. When you pushed Sheila at the charity event, you hurt her ankle. As her family is now refusing to help give her the care she needs, it falls onto you, Arya. This is your fault, and your responsibility. He scolded me with an angry tone, making me feel like a useless, petulant child. Was he still angry with me for not apologizing to Sheila last time? Lucian helped Sheila shed her coat and then held it out for me. Around us, some of the maids had fluttered into the foyer to assist where they could. Lucian did not command them. He held that coat out for me to take, for me to hang up in the hall closet out of respect for Sheila. I hope you can forgive me, Arya, Sheila said weakly. I don't mean to intrude into your home. Around me the maids whisper. Sheila is so gratuitous and kind. Arya won't even hang up her coat. Arya still hasn't apologized for pushing Sheila. Not wanting the situation to escalate, I accepted the coat and hung it up. Then I ducked past Lucian and Sheila up the stairs to prepare a room for Sheila. I just finished placing the towels and toiletries when Lucian and Sheila finally entered the room, after Lucian tirelessly helped Sheila up the stairwell one step at a time. After helping Sheila sit down on the edge of the mattress, Lucian looked around, relief softening his eyes. You should be comfortable here, Sheila. To me, he said. Arya, meet me in my study. Nodding, I walked out. He stayed behind a moment, then followed me. In his study, we both stood in front of his large mahogany desk. His paperwork was all tucked away. All of the pens were in the pen holder. There wasn't a single thing out of place. Now, he said. What did you want to talk about? I avoided his gaze for a moment, trying to rebuild the courage that had floundered with Sheila's presence. I struggled to reclaim it now, even though we were alone. Thinking of the baby helped. At the very least, I needed to tell Lucian about the pregnancy. Resolved, I looked up, meeting Lucian's gaze. I stilled. Before, even during the hardest parts of our marriage, Lucian would look at me with a type of patience and warmth. It was dimmer at some points than others, but I could always see it lingering there somewhere in the depths of his gaze. Right now, that warmth was entirely vanished from his eyes. I want to say. I started. Whatever it is you want to say it, Lucian said. He looked at me with the same kind of casual indifference he might give to a stranger or acquaintance, not his wife. Opening my mouth once more, words came flooding out. I want a divorce. I firmly said. What? Lucian widened his eyes, fell in big shock.